My girlfriend left me for my best friend. The breakup was a 3-minute phone call while I was on my lunch break. Her name was Chloe. We had been together for 5 years. My best friend, or ex-best friend, was Liam. We had known each other since we were kids. He was the brother I never had. When she told me she was leaving, she said she'd fallen out of love. A week later, they made their relationship official on social media with a picture of them kissing, captioned, "Sometimes what you're looking for is right in front of you." The first few weeks were a blur of anger and confusion. I packed up her things from our shared apartment and left them on her parents' porch. I blocked both of them on everything. Our mutual friends were caught in the middle. Most of them offered weak condolences, but tried to stay neutral, which felt like a betrayal in itself. Liam sent me one long, rambling text message about how he couldn't fight his feelings and how he hoped we could be friends again someday. I never replied. The silence was my only defense. About a month after the breakup, I noticed something was wrong with my finances. Chloe and I had a joint high-yield savings account. It was our future fund, where we were saving for a down payment on a house. I had contributed the lion's share of it over the years, probably about 70% of the total, a little over $35,000. I went to transfer my portion into a new personal account, and my stomach dropped. The balance was $12.38. I looked at the transaction history. 2 days after our breakup call, the entire balance, $50,240, had been transferred out to a personal account. The transfer was initiated by Chloe. I felt cold. This wasn't just a breakup, it was a heist. They hadn't just stolen my future with her, they had stolen my actual, tangible future. I took a screenshot of the bank statement showing the transfer, the date, and the amount. It was all the proof I needed. I didn't call her or Liam. I didn't text them or yell. I called a lawyer. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Miss Gable, was floored by the audacity of it. She drafted a formal demand letter that afternoon. It was sent via certified mail to both Chloe and Liam. The letter was simple. It stated that the funds in the joint account were designated for a shared purpose that no longer existed, and that Chloe had unlawfully withdrawn the full amount without my consent. It demanded the immediate return of my contributed portion, $35,168, within 10 business days, or we would proceed with a lawsuit for conversion and unjust enrichment. They ignored it. 10 business days came and went. Nothing. I instructed Miss Gable to file the lawsuit. The day they were served, my phone finally blew up. It was Liam. I answered. He was screaming, "Are you serious? You're suing us? After everything, you're trying to shake us down for money?" I was quiet for a moment, letting him vent. "Liam," I said, my voice flat, "you and Chloe stole 35 grand from me. This isn't a shakedown. This is me getting my property back. You should have responded to the letter." He spluttered. "It was a joint account. She had a right to it." I said, "The court can decide that. Talk to your lawyer, not me," and I hung up. Suddenly, our neutral friends started getting an earful. Liam and Chloe went on a smear campaign, telling everyone that I was a bitter ex trying to extort money from them to ruin their newfound happiness. A few friends called me, confused. I didn't argue or plead my case. I just sent them the screenshot of the bank transfer. The facts were the facts. Support for Liam and Chloe started to dry up pretty quickly after that. Faced with a lawsuit they couldn't win, they settled. A cashier's check for the full amount arrived at my lawyer's office a week later. I had my money back, but the second betrayal had left a deeper scar than the first. Months passed. I worked on myself, hit the gym, reconnected with friends who had taken my side, and started to feel like a person again. I was moving on. Then, one Saturday afternoon, there was a knock on my door. It was Liam and Chloe. They were standing on my doorstep, holding a bottle of wine, smiling nervously. It was the first time I'd seen them in person since the breakup. My first instinct was to slam the door in their faces. But I didn't. I just waited. "Can we talk to you for a minute?" Chloe asked, her voice soft. I stepped aside and let them in. They stood awkwardly in my living room. They launched into a rehearsed-sounding apology about how things had happened, how they were sorry for the pain they caused, but that their love was real and they couldn't deny it. It was a whole lot of, "We're sorry you got hurt," without actually admitting they did anything wrong. Then came the reason for their visit. Chloe held up her hand. She was wearing an engagement ring. "We're getting married," she said, beaming. Liam put his arm around her. "And man," he said, looking me in the eye, "it would mean the world to us if you would be one of my groomsmen. Stand with me in the wedding party to show everyone that we're still family." The audacity was breathtaking. They had betrayed me, stolen from me, and smeared my name to our friends. Now they wanted me to stand beside them and smile for pictures, to be a prop in their little fairy tale, a living symbol of their forgiveness. They didn't want a friend, they wanted absolution. I looked at their hopeful, expectant faces, and I just smiled. "Wow," I said. "Congratulations. I'd be honored." The relief that washed over them was sickening. They thought they had gotten away with it all. But as they left my apartment, laughing and celebrating, I knew the role I would play at their wedding wasn't the one they expected. The next few months were an exercise in self-control. I played the part of the magnanimous, forgiving friend. I went to their engagement party and toasted their happiness. I joined the groomsmen's group chat. I even went to the bachelor party weekend in Vegas, faking smiles and laughing at Liam's stupid jokes. All the while, I was planning. My revenge couldn't be petty. It had to be absolute. It had to be built on their own actions, using their own words against them. I started digging. Chloe and I had used a shared cloud service for years to back up our photos and documents. She had never unlinked her devices. Her phone's message history, including deleted texts, was still being backed up to an account I could access. It took me a weekend and some data recovery software, but I found it, a goldmine of deceit. I found the texts between her and Liam stretching back almost a year before our breakup. They started as flirty messages, then escalated to secret meetings. They detailed their affair in my own apartment while I was at work. They made fun of me, my habits, my family. I found the messages from the week of our breakup. Liam telling Chloe, "Just get it over with. The sooner you break it off, the sooner we can be together." And Chloe's reply, "I will. Then we can finally get that money and start our life." The theft of the down payment hadn't been an afterthought. It had been part of the plan from the beginning. I took screenshots of everything. I organized them chronologically, creating a timeline of their betrayal. I had dates, times, and their own words. The evidence was ironclad. As a groomsman, I was given a task. Chloe and Liam were both terrible with technology, so they asked me to put together the wedding slideshow. It was supposed to be a sweet montage of their baby pictures and photos of them as a couple, set to their favorite songs. They handed me a USB drive with hundreds of carefully selected happy photos. "You know us best," Liam said, clapping me on the shoulder. "Make it special." I smiled and promised him I would. I spent weeks on that slideshow. I bought professional video editing software. I made 2 versions. Version A was the one they expected, a sappy, 10-minute montage of their smiling faces. Version B was my masterpiece. It started the same way, with baby pictures and childhood shots, all set to some soft, romantic music. But at the 2-minute mark, the music would fade out, the screen would flicker to black, and my evidence would begin. The day of the wedding came. It was a big, expensive affair at a fancy country club, paid for mostly by Chloe's father, a kind man I had always liked. I played my role perfectly. I helped Liam with his tie. I took pictures with the other groomsmen. I walked down the aisle with a bridesmaid, smiling for the cameras. During the ceremony, I looked at Chloe and Liam standing at the altar, saying their vows, and I felt nothing. At the reception, the mood was joyous. Speeches were made. Toasts were given. Then the DJ announced it was time for the special slideshow presentation. He handed me the microphone. I stood up. "I just want to say how happy I am to be here to celebrate 2 people who deserve each other so completely," I said, smiling at the happy couple. They asked me to put together a little something to show their journey. I hope you all enjoy it. I walked over to the large projection screen, my laptop in hand. I connected the HDMI cable. I had given the DJ a cue to dim the lights. The room went dark, and the slideshow began to play. The first 2 minutes were perfect. Baby pictures of Chloe, goofy teenage pictures of Liam, the first few photos of them as a couple. Their families were oohing and ahing. Liam and Chloe were holding hands, watching the screen with tears in their eyes. Then, the romantic music faded. The screen went black for a second. A new title card appeared in simple white text, "The Real Journey." The first screenshot faded in. It was a text from Liam to Chloe, dated 8 months before our breakup. "He's an idiot. He'll never suspect a thing." A collective gasp went through the room. Before anyone could react, the next slide appeared. A text from Chloe, "I feel a little bad, but then you touch me and I forget all about him." Slide after slide, the evidence of their affair played out on the giant screen for their 150 guests. Their secret messages, their insults, their plans. The room was dead silent, except for the quiet clicking of the slideshow advancing. I included the text about planning to take the money. Then, as the grand finale, I put up the screenshot of the $50,240 bank transfer, the date clearly visible, 2 days after she left me. The last slide was just a picture of the two of them from their engagement shoot, but this time with the caption, "Congratulations to the happy couple." Then I turned the sound back on. The romantic, sappy song they had chosen boomed through the speakers again. The lights came up. All hell broke loose. Chloe was screaming, a high-pitched, hysterical sound. Liam was frozen, his face as white as the tablecloth. Her father was on his feet, his face purple with rage, staring at them and then at the screen. Guests were whispering, pointing, pulling out their phones. I didn't wait around to see the rest. I calmly disconnected my laptop, packed it in its bag, and walked towards the exit. As I passed their table, Liam jumped up and lunged for me, but he was held back by the other groomsmen. I didn't even look at him. I walked out of the reception hall, through the manicured gardens of the country club, and into the cool night air. My phone was already buzzing, but I didn't look at it. I got in my car, turned it off, and drove away. The role I played wasn't a groomsman, it was the narrator, and I just told their story, in their own words.